Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Xochitl. If you are new here, you know what to do. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, or do you know what to do because you're new here. But if you come through a lot, you know what to do. If you haven't already subscribed, you totally should. I just filmed a video of this makeup look. In case you guys are interested, check it down in the description box if you want to recreate this and watch a shop my stash video. For today, I wanted to do a requested video for you all, which was talking about my favorite primers, my favorite face primers for dry skin. If you're new, you probably don't know, but I have dry skin. I have very dry skin. It is the struggle bus city of dry skin, especially when the weather changes. So not only is your skincare prep going to be really important, but also the type of primer that you use with your foundation, I think, can make the biggest difference. So I wanted to talk about my favorite primers in case you guys are interested, and maybe which ones I might switch out, maybe seasonally even as well. But once again, we have a nice little mixture of drugstore and high-end in case you guys want to save some money. Maybe you want to try something new. Also, some of these do come in minis, which I think is awesome, especially for like high-end ones that you don't want to spend too much on because you're not sure. You can just kind of try out, or you can always go to Sephora for some of these and ask them for a sample, test it out, try it out, see if it's worth investing in the large size. So the first face primer, especially if you watch my channel, you've probably seen it, and this was definitely a hardcore just go-to. This was like the only thing I was using for a long time because it just worked. It was amazing. It was worth the price. I believe it was about $11 to $12, but it's the L'Oreal Infallible Glow Lock Primer. They have the Infallible, I think it's like the matte primer. So for those of you who have oily skin, they have that option. But for dry skin, the Glow Lock Primer, let me tell you, is amazing. So this is supposed to be a luminous finish primer, and this primer for some reason just works with a buttload of my foundations as well, because it's also the thing too. Sometimes some primers don't complement other foundations well, and vice versa. So sometimes, depending on your foundation, how many different foundations you have, you might have to switch out your primers here and there. So I feel like a lot of like silicone based, like heavy silicone based primers sometimes don't react well. I feel like especially with like maybe dewy luminous hydrating foundations, so you know, might have to look out for that. But this one worked with pretty much all of my foundations that I love for dry skin, so that's what I lean more towards. It's going to be hydrating, dewy, it's going to be luminous. So if you have those already, obviously because you're dry skin, this is going to be a great foundation to pair for that. Or say you're normal, maybe even oily skin, and you still want to keep it pretty, like a natural finish, satin, maybe even matte, but you kind of want a hint of luminosity, mix in your primer with that, and you can do that kind of luminous base. So while you still have maybe more of a mattifying finish, it's still going to give you like a natural hint of luminosity. So I'll even pair this with my other L'Oreal. I believe it was the L'Oreal Infallible, and I think it was like the 24-hour fresh foundation. I love it. That definitely leans more towards like a demi matte, and this one pairs so well with it. This was so worth it. I've repurchased this at least like 3 or 4 times. So this is a high recommendation. There were just some newbies that came into my life where I was just like, ooh, I like those just as well. So I'll talk about those in a bit. Next, if you want something a little bit more affordable, probably about half the price for more of a dewy finish. So this isn't gonna necessarily hydrate your skin. You're really gonna need your skincare products to do that for you. But if you want more of a dewy finish, something very affordable that I actually do really like is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Primer. I actually do like this little guy. It's maybe like $5 or $6. So if your budget is just a little bit smaller, I would definitely recommend picking this guy up, especially if you want that boost of dewiness. And maybe if you are more normal skin, you don't want it all around, you can kind of, you know, place where you want that kind of dewiness. So do it on your cheekbones, maybe the brow bone. You don't have to do it all over your face. You can mix and match your primer. So maybe this isn't only for dry skin, but maybe if you want to kind of targets prime areas of your face, you can do that. But for dry skin, I feel like while this is Dewy, this is still a really good dewy, affordable face primer, because I'll say I've tried some dewy ones or some hydrating ones and they don't do crap, or they're dewy and they kind of dry out my skin weirdly, but this one does not do it. So I feel like if you want a dewy primer on a budget, check out Wet n Wild's Photo Focus Dewy Primer. Next, going to the high end, the reason I don't buy this one is because I found some other affordable favorites as you hear me talking about it now, so I'm just like, budget wise, I think I can skip it. But if I were to ever get it as a gift, I would be so happy, because I think it's just amazing for dry skin. This has been a go-to for me, so if you can afford it, invest in it, totally worth it. I have a mini version with me right now, and best believe I'm saving it for those real like important days. So this is the Too Faced Hangover RX Face Primer, and let me tell you, that's exactly what it feels like, especially if you were a little bit hungover and you need to replenish the skin, because you do get dehydrated when you are hungover, and as you get older you try to kind of balance your drinking with your water, as you should. But in general, I feel like this is not silicone type primer. This is one of those that's very much like a moisturizer, so it just feels like you're moisturizing your skin, but it's priming it in that way. So that's why I like it so much for dry skin, which is why I feel like it makes the biggest difference for hydration. So this is truly a very hydrating face primer. It really just rejuvenates your skin, just kind of brings it back to life like it would be needed for a hangover. Like, I think they just named it perfectly for dry skin. That's what it feels like for dry skin, when you just have like a huge hangover like all year long. So that's why I really love the Too Faced Hangover RX face primer, and believe me, this was my go-to, the only thing, but it's about like $30 plus, so that's why I'm talking about some other budget friendly ones, and why honestly I just haven't repurchased it, although I do miss it sometimes. So if you guys can afford it and you want to try it, you want to treat yourself, yes, highly recommend the Too Faced Hangover RX face primer. The large one is $30. This little one is, I think I got for free as a sample. If not, they might have a bigger sample, maybe for like $12-15 or something. Next is something a little bit different. This is one that I love to use for the summertime, when, if you love, like me, a full face of makeup, coverage, medium to full coverage, it's summer, and when it's hot, it's hot. This primer is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It says, it does what it says. It says what it does. It just helps your foundation grip onto your face for dear life when it is like 80, 90 degrees plus outside. Like, honestly, this feels like a refreshing boost to your face, and it just feels like a little mini AC underneath all of your foundation, especially if you're going to be spending time outside. So this guy I specifically reserved for the summertime, because that's when I need it. I feel like this is not something I specifically need for dry skin, me personally, that I need in like the winter or just kind of spring right now, when like I'm gonna let my foundations do what they do, because I love the dew. But this one I definitely need it for the summertime, because like, best believe I'm still wearing makeup and ain't nobody gonna stop me. But with this Hydro Grip Primer, have I been saying foundation for some of these? I'm sorry if I did, but this primer, I feel like just, it saves your face from melting off. And even when you feel like you're sweating everywhere else in your body, normally if I didn't have this face primer on, I had another one in the same type of makeup, like I would just feel myself dripping. I remember I actually put on this primer. We were driving to a soccer game, and I didn't have time, so I had to do my makeup in the car, and it was hot because somebody would not turn on the AC. It's like, just roll down the windows. I was like, I'm trying to do my makeup here, hello. But I put this on, and it just instantly kind of gave me like a cooling effect on my face. Also, just so happened to wear like black pants, and it was in the middle of the day, so the sun was directly on us, but my face was feeling fresh, thankfully, to the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I was gonna say foundation primer. Like, this is just a lifesaver. This, I got the mini version. I think it was about maybe $15 as well at Sephora, and just look how much I've used. I feel like for someone like me who has obviously a bunch of makeup, a bunch of different primers, I think the mini one, I think this will probably last me the rest of the summer coming up, whether or not we're allowed to go outside or not. But I think I will be set with this. So I think all skin types should definitely pick this one up, especially in this summertime, to keep your face from melting off. Next has been like my go-to favorite, if you guys have been seeing on my channel here. This is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So now they've come out with the e.l.f. Matte putty primer, poreless putty primer, and then the, I believe, luminous poreless putty primer. I still honestly love the original poreless putty primer. Like, this bad boy has seen some things. And honestly, for me, dry skin, I tried the luminous next to the original poreless putty, and I feel like the original poreless putty still made me look more luminous than the luminous one. So I have the luminous one. I'll probably just use it because I think it was good, but just the level of luminosity that the poreless original provided was just that much more. So I was like, why? Might as well use that. When I ran out of this, I'm probably just going to use the luminous because I think it was just as good. But this one, of course, just did a better job at, you know, concealing those pores. So for $8, I think all skin types should try this out. And because of the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, I have not picked up my L'Oreal Glow Lock. I think these are both good, but $8, $11, $12. I'm going to go with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So, feel like if you're someone who's just been wanting to kind of experiment with a primer in general, I think you should totally check this one out. The only thing is, it doesn't necessarily add a boost of maybe extra luminosity to my face or hydration or like moisture. So, I feel like I definitely have to prep my skin accordingly and make sure my other products are doing that. That's the only maybe downfall. If you do have dry skin like me, it's not going to provide you any of those elements. So, there's that, but it does a good job of keeping my makeup on my face, and I feel like it works really well with my very, you know, dewy, luminous, hydrating foundations. It lets them do what they're gonna do, so I still love it. If you've noticed, I have not been picking up my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. That was my go-to for a hot ass minute. But something new came into my life, and weirdly enough, this is like a moisturizer primer, mostly a moisturizer. It is the Good Molecules silicone-free priming moisturizer. Why do I love this? First off, $14 for this huge thing. I think this is like maybe like the size of that Faced Hangover RX. It comes with the pump, but it's basically a moisturizer. So this is basically almost my Faced Hangover RX. Why? Like, yeah, it's basically just a moisturizer. So I feel like I'm getting that hydration, and therefore my skin does just look more luminous, and it looks even maybe dewy, more dewy, depending on the foundation that I'm using. So this is what I've been using for my videos. And I believe for like my last spring tutorial, Chit Chat Get Ready With Me video, I didn't use, did I use highlight? I might have used highlight. Maybe not. I can't remember, but my skin looks so good. This combined with the wet, and just feels so moisturizing and hydrating. This, because it's a moisturizer, this combined with the Wet n Wild Dewy foundation, perfection. So I haven't been touching my e.l.f. Poreless because I really love this. I like that it's silicone free because I feel like sometimes silicone messes, once again, like I said, with my very, you know, dewy, luminous, hydrating foundations. It honestly just hydrates my skin, and that's really what I need. It's weird for me not to put like maybe a traditional primer on my face and just like a moisturizer, but it's both. So I'm kind of like skipping a step, or, you know, eliminate a step in like my 20-30 count makeup step. So that's nice. But for this huge bottle, it's $14. I have really been loving it. Good Molecules actually did send this to me. They sent me a bunch of products for dry skin, and I'm loving them. I love the price. They're supposed to be comparable to the Ordinary, which I haven't tried, which I've been wanting to try. But I got these, and I'm glad they sent me this, because I probably, if it would have been like shop and find something, I don't think I would have picked this up, honestly, because I would have been, I don't know, I'm not a primer person in general. Some people love trying out primers. I prefer foundation, concealer, stuff like that. Like, skincare isn't my thing, but I'm so glad they sent it to me, because yes, I would say definitely pick this one up if you happen to be shopping. They have Good Molecules on Beautylish. So yes, if you're looking for a new primer, $14, 1.7 ounces. So far, I have been loving it. It's what I used today. I think it's what I've been using in my last couple of videos. I mean, you guys have seen the results. It makes my makeup last. It doesn't make it bunch up. I think it just holds up very luminous throughout the day, because of course that's what I'm just going to be using. So highly recommend. So those are my favorite primers for dry skin. Who knows, in a year or two these might get upgraded. Just like, honestly, Good Molecules just kind of snuck in there in the end since I've been using that one a lot, but I've been loving it. So if you guys have been wondering what primers to get for dry skin, maybe even normal skin too, depending on the season, I feel like you really can switch up your primers. When it gets a little bit colder, you need something a little bit moisturizing. When it gets a little bit hotter, you need something like that Hydro Grip that's gonna really hold onto your makeup. So even I switch it up, but I feel like for beginners, if you really don't know, I understand it can be very overwhelming at the drugstore, online, so many products. These are my recommendations. Definitely let me know, comment below if you've tried any of these and you've loved them, or if you're gonna go pick them up, please let me know if you've been loving them as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with more videos. Also, I am going on a filming spree, so please comment suggestions of things you want to see next. Definitely adding to my checklist to get for you guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.